Focus. Focus up. I'm talking to you, Nana Mona. I don't even know who you are, but I know you like my shows and you're very, very good at liking and commenting all that. So, hey, shout out to you, Nana Mona. Welcome to episode 45 of the Rubio Method. My name is Chris Rubio. I want to thank you for subscribing and liking and sharing on ngbn.tv, therubiomethod.com, Apple, YouTube, Spotify, Google, Amazon, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Yeah, even that. Welcome. We're going to have a great show. What are we going to talk about today? Let's see. How about reducing the stigma around mental health? That's got Monaghan written all over it. Would I rather be cold or hot? What is with the rundown with Rubio? What do I think, about participation trophies? Crazies during a full moon, college roommates, top musicians, being a touring professional. What the hell does that mean? And following your dreams no matter what. All of that and much, much more on today's episode 45 of the Rubio Method. Her name is Chastity. I'm out. Focus up. I'm talking to you, Shorzy. If you don't know what Shorzy is, it's a great show on the Hulu network. They just had their second season. It's a branch off of Letterkenny. I highly recommend it. A little rough around the edges, but very, very funny. It's one of those shows that you're either going to love it or hate it. It's kind of like The Big Lebowski. All right. Welcome back to episode 45 of the Rubio Method. Let's hear what the Minute with Monaghan is all about. Chastity, take it away.
Hey, how's it going? Welcome to this week's Minute with Monaghan. And this one I think is a really cool one. It isn't so much about advice, but just talking through mental health. This week I was challenged about looking at mental health differently. We look at people who perhaps have cancer or any type of other illness as someone who has cancer, who's fighting through cancer, who is a warrior. And those are all very true, amazing things. And people going through any type of illness, that's very true. They're absolute warriors and so strong going through it. But I think with mental health, oftentimes we look at people as the problem, right? We'll say, oh, that person's depressed, or that person is a schizophrenic person, or that person has X, Y, and Z, instead of talking about them as they're fighting through it. They're warriors. They're fighting through their mental health battles. Both illnesses that people probably wouldn't choose. Given any type of circumstances, I would bet people wouldn't choose it. So I think just wanted to get awareness and spread this week's Minute with Monaghan to talk about mental health, talk about the way we stigmatize it, and talk about it in a way that is people who are fighters who are going through it. And that's what I want you guys to do and to look at it a different way. Thanks, you guys rock.
So good to see Monaghan. And on that note, he's going to be back the next episode 46. He's still working through his training in Minneapolis to become a police officer. He's going to be obviously one of the top officers out there. We respect him. So proud of him. But I am pumped that he will start coming back on the episode live to be with us because he's just like a Labrador puppy. He's just always so happy and he just makes you happy. He's happy. Huppy? What the hell kind of word is huppy? Happy and puppy. Chastity, you got to fix that. Who cares? All right. So questions from emails. This is from Samantha in Huntsville, Alabama. Chastity, I think that's near you, isn't it? Rubio, would you rather be cold or hot? This is a rough one because coming from Los Angeles, I'm used to say normal temperatures. And now that I live in northern Idaho, it gets cold here. It gets really cold. To me, cold. And I have electric socks. I've got an electric hat. I've got electric gloves. And my wife always says, you're such an LA sissy, blah, blah, blah. And I said, you call me whatever you want. You're not going to call me cold. I don't like being cold. My head gets cold. Obviously, I've got no hair. My fingers and my toes get cold. I don't know if it's a circulation thing or what. Maybe if there's a doctor on here, they can tell me. But I also hate the heat. I always make fun of her name is Chastity because she lives in Greenbow and there's humidity. So I really hate humidity. So Samantha in Huntsville, would I rather be cold or hot? I'd rather be at 64 degrees. I feel like that's my perfect temperature where I can put a hoodie on if I need, but I can still wear shorts and sandals if needed. So it doesn't answer your question, but I don't care because I don't know either one, and that's what I'm going to go with. Next one is from Stephen in Long Beach. Remember, you can email these questions to Rubio at therubiomethod.com. That's Rubio at therubiomethod.com. Rubio, why did you start the rundown with Rubio? For those of you that are subscribing on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, Google, all those good things, and Spotify video as well, if you want to see my face like on YouTube, I have been doing a daily podcast called The Rundown with Rubio, where I take 5 stories and I correlate them to go with the principles of the Rubio method. The principles are, I have them written right here: winners and losers in life, accept and embrace, everything happens for a reason, working hard is not enough, and confidence is the key. And I just take 5 current news stories and I plug them into each one of those. They are under 5 minutes and they are fantastic, if I do say so myself. It's just 5 news stories along those principles, but I add a little bit of humor. Why did I start them? Just to get more practice speaking, and I wanted to put more content out. And I kind of wanted to vent a little because there's so much craziness going on in the world today with the news, or stuff you don't hear about or you hear too much about. And I just wanted to put my own little spin off on it. And they are on YouTube Shorts and TikTok, and they're getting great reviews. So make sure you check them out. Last one from Tommy in Fort Worth, Texas. I was just there, Tommy. Rubio, what are your thoughts on participation trophies for kids in sports? For anyone that's watched this show for more than, say, half a second, I think you know my opinion on these. I would say I'm 100% out. If you just participate in something, you should not get a trophy. I mean, you're not that great. You didn't do anything. That's why I also say, like, I protest kindergarten graduations, 5th grade graduations, 8th grade graduations, almost high school graduations as well, because you could be pretty much a moron and graduate those. Just because you don't drool on yourself in kindergarten doesn't mean you should get a graduation ceremony. I think it's stupid. So I know this is probably going to piss off a couple people, but my kid, Damon Dale, the 12-year-old, he's gotten participation trophies and he knows it's the rule. We walk home, I get that trophy, I throw it right in the trash. Sorry, but that's the way it is. All right, we've got 2 more segments coming up. We've got Doc coming in from Ireland, my favorite Irishman. We got a fantastic interview with the great Joel Graves. And then we got the bottom line. All of that coming up soon. Chastity, I'm out.
Thanks for watching The Rubio Method on the NGBN.TV network. Be sure to spread the word, and don't forget to subscribe, like, or follow on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Google, Amazon, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook.
Focus up. I'm talking to you, Chris Bentley. I know you're not watching or listening to this, but I know that you're in my heart right now, man. I'm thinking about you, wishing you all the best. Soon. Your family will tell you about this later. All right, welcome back to episode 45 of the Rubio Method. My name is Chris Rubio. If you have any questions, you can always email rubio@therubiomethod.com. Before our fantastic interview with Joel Graves, let's hear what my favorite Irishman, actually the only Irishman I know, Doc Conor Hogan, has to say. Chastity, take it away.
Rubio, are you a lunatic? Now, that might seem like a very rude question to ask of you, maybe not. But on all seriousness, there's new research coming out of Northwestern University that has looked at the gatherings of micro-lunar crystals, believe it or not, in 1972 by Apollo 17 from the moon. And it has discovered, they believe, that the moon is 40 million years older than we first thought. It's actually 4.46 billion years old. Think about it. If you believe, or are a believer, in lunar problems, when the moon comes out, people go crazy. They just act all funny and strange. Then perhaps there are people with problems, eccentricities, psychosis, and so on planet Earth a lot longer. Think of the breeding ever since. So it's up to belief. Believe it or not.
All right. I can't say it enough how much I love the Doc's accent. I love how he's like in some sort of Irish cave, or if that's just a background. It's kind of looked like I saw some tape on the left-hand side of that. You may want to rewind and check if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify video, or if you're watching a clip on TikTok or YouTube Shorts. But do I think the moon is 4.6 billion years old? We got to talk about that with Joel. And also, are there more crazies that are coming out at that point? I don't know. I want to say yes. Chastity, can you bring out Joel? Let me introduce you to my fantastic guest, Joel Graves. Chastity, there he is. Joel,
Hey.
how are you doing, my man?
Good, man. It's good to see you.
Nice seeing you. All right. Who is Joel? We're going to get into this real quick. He's a musician, a studio owner, a guitar tech, a music industry lifer. He's a touring professional with Everlast and Modest Mouse. And most importantly, he's a former roommate of mine at the UCLA. How are you doing?
Good to see the helmet back there.
Yeah, there it is.
I was going to start with an 8 clap, but I'll spare you.
Yeah. Okay. So we were talking about this early before the show. On your pre-show questionnaire, you said, "Oh, as I'm approaching 50," and we talked about it a little bit. Is that depressing for you or happy for you that we're coming up on 50? That's wild to me. 50 is a real human.
It is, yeah, it is a little wild. It's definitely eye-opening. I think in some ways maybe I just didn't really ever look down the line enough to see myself in my late 40s. So now that I'm here, I'm like, oh wow, this is all right. And so I don't know. Age is just a number, as they say. So I'm not too daunted by it, but it is a little bit, you're playing the back half, I guess, at that point. So, but
Yeah.
I'm healthy so I can live a long life. So I'm not going into it with any kind of intrepidation, I guess.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where everyone says, "Okay, you're middle age," and then you start to think about it. Okay, if you're 48, are you really living to 96? I mean, because that's pretty old.
That's pretty old. I don't know that I really want to live that old.
Yeah.
I never expected to as a kid, and I've been out living quite the rock and roll lifestyle for 20 plus years. So
Yeah, you are. We're going to talk about that as well. So let me have a quick question for you. Number one, what do you think about Doc's saying that, number one, that the moon is 4.6 billion years old, and that every full moon there's more quote unquote crazies that come out?
well, I think there's probably some truth to the crazies part. I don't really know the science on the age of the moon, but that sounds a little old to me for what we know about the Earth and our galaxy. I don't know.
I got you. Who's the best musician you've ever seen and why?
Best musician. Wow. I would have to go with a gentleman that not a lot of people maybe have heard of, named Richard Swift.
Okay.
He was an ultra talented multi-instrumentalist and songwriter that I think had that kind of Stevie Wonder-esque quality, that he was just as great on piano as he was on drums and as he was, with a microphone in his hand, or guitar for that matter. So
Is he in a band, or just people can just Google him and find him, or what?
He had a solo career, and I think all of his solo records are amazing. So I think that's a great place to start, just under Richard Swift. But he was the music director for the bands, the Shins, and also for played bass, and was the music director of the Black Keys for a while. Bigger artist that probably more people would know. But he was just just a true talent, soulful talent that was blew my mind.
Okay. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. I got one more fluff question for you. If you could go back and sit at the Coy house, okay, so where we lived, I think it was 3317 Coy Drive. Was that what it was? How the hell do I remember that?
Right. Yeah. I was only a temporary guest there, really, but
No, you were there all the time, man. Okay.
Band rehearsal.
If you could go back to the Coy house and talk to the three main members, say you, me, and Dom, what bit of advice would you give us at, say, 20 years old?
Oh man. I think I would say you don't know half as much as you think you know.
Ooh.
I think that we were probably pretty full on life at that point. And feeling all those great things you feel when you're young, and the world's your oyster, and anything is possible. I think I would have said, calm down a little bit, like, take some time.
But yeah, and you would say follow your dreams, but you followed your dreams. I want to talk about it because you are one of the most. I've been really, really looking forward to this interview, not just because you're Joel. You're going to be, someone that I've spoken to have known for 30 years essentially, but the music mindset that you have, to me, it's one of the most unique things in the world that I cannot grasp because you're so talented. Why? I don't even know how to formulate this question. Why is music so good? I love music, but why is it so good in your mind?
I think the music is a universal language, and that's something.
I like that.
It's just something that taps into something that anyone can identify with. You don't have to understand even what language the words are being spoken in, if there are vocals. But music can just as simple as rhythm, or just a melody, or there's these beautiful components that can move you without a real explanation. And I don't know, that's some, like, I think a little bit of it's like understand not I guess it's not understandable, but it's like a type of magic in a way.
No, I agree.
It can help lighten your mood, or I don't know, it has strange effects. Like sad music can sometimes make you feel comforted and more happy. And it's just kind of incredible what it can do to either pump you up or just help you calm down, or it can do a lot of different things. And I've always just felt connected with it. So I kind of considered myself a songwriter first. So when I first started picking up instruments, the first thing I wanted to do was like make new music and just start making music, whatever that was or could be. So that's kind of what it means to me, and where I fell in love with it.
It's like that. I used, when I was a sixth grade history teacher out in California, an English teacher as well. We used to have this writing assignment where you probably know the movie. You may know the movie Royal Tenenbaums.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay. And so who's the composer on that? Mark Mothersbaugh?
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And we used to play songs from that soundtrack, and I would play, and some of them were upbeat and some of them were low. And I would say, I'm going to play 30 seconds of this. You have to write what's happening right now. And it was so awesome to see the kids just dive into the musical realm of, holy hell, this one's happy as hell. They're running through the forest. And this one, oh my God, dun, dun, dun. This is a grave thing. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I think that's somewhat instinctual. It's just you make that reaction without, it's like knowing if someone's smiling at you or frowning at you. You can tell pretty quickly by certain visible signs. And I think the audio signs are often similar. If something's really startling or soothing, it's kind of clear right off the bat. And I think a lot of ways, I don't know, as humans, we're kind of trained even from birth or from early childhood. A lot of parents use music to soothe their children or to quiet them or whatever they can use it in certain ways to gain their interest. And I think all of those things are just, it has to be something that's somewhat hardwired in us, I think, to some degree. And that may just be from, hundreds of thousands of years. I don't know.
Okay, so you're a musical god. I'm going on saying that because you can do everything. You're a touring professional. You've done this. How long would it take for you to teach me to play, let's say, bass? Because I'm a phenomenal air bass player. I'm probably the world's best. I've said it for years, but real bass. And I have no musical gene in my body. Someone like you who is a god at it, how long would it take for you to teach me?
Well, I'm not a god at it. I'm still learning. I think that's
a humble god.
Always trying to get better. I think bass is a great instrument to learn on, because you can take things one note at a time. So it is actually it is a good starting point. So if that is an instrument that interests you, it's a great one to learn on. And there are some simple things that you can learn right off the bat to get going. The things that are hard to teach are whether you have an ear for music and how well you understand the difference between different pitches and your ability to process that stuff quickly and things like that. That as a professional musician, eventually you develop. Sometimes those signs are there right off the bat. You're either good at it or you're not a lot of times. Mm-hmm. And if you're work at it, and it takes a lot of practice, like anything in life. Like if you really love it or are serious about it, it takes practice. And so you got to put in the hours. And to take bass as an example versus acoustic guitar, which a lot of people learn on acoustic guitar, bass strings are a lot bigger and thicker. So maybe somebody with bigger, stronger hands, it might feel really natural and comfortable. Someone like yourself, who I might say also has the softest touch on the jump shot that I've ever seen in my life.
It's a gift.
And so, yeah, I think, it does depend on the person. Acoustic guitar also is a little tough on the fingertips and stuff, and bass even more so. The strings are even thicker. So there's certain things that, maybe what your interests are in music, what kind of music you like, what you want to learn is key. Like if you want to learn heavy metal riffs, that's a great place to start. You can learn all kinds of scales basically by learning those riffs, and it starts to get your fingers comfortable doing normal guitar and bass type of things. So I've actually never really taught much other than just a friend here or there, some little lessons. I've gotten a few lessons from dear friends who are incredible musicians who I can learn from, and that's, like I was saying, is still part of my process. Is I'm trying to become a better musician in every way that I can.
Okay, so I'm completely enamored with music. If you haven't figured that out, I need to know: is it harder to write the music or write the lyrics? Because I have a theory, but what is your thought?
Uh, well, I'm like I think as a life goal, I'm mildly obsessed with both.
Okay.
So I have like a great love for both things. I think music comes much more easily for me, and lyrics are oftentimes difficult because not only do you have to fit within a rhythm scheme of what the music is doing, you have to fit within a certain key of what notes are being played on the instruments. And so you have to kind of factor in all these elements into also trying to, say something, hopefully say something that's meaningful to people and important and something that they want to like hang on to. So I think it's easier to come up with the music first, and then you can fill in the holes with what can work with lyrics. If you come up with lyrics or melody first, I feel like the chords and what work with that generally kind of dictate to some degree to themselves, and you can kind of gravitate towards what feels right with a melody. So it can be done both ways, really. I don't there that's also one of the beautiful things about music, is there is no wrong way. To teach someone that it has to be done this certain way, I think would do a disservice to someone else who might, create in a completely different way but just as successfully.
Okay, so in my mind, I've always had this theory where, okay, the lyrics are, it's like a little story, we'll say, or it's a poem, or it's a novel, whatever. You're making this story out to the love of your life. All right, we're talking to someone, and they're in Greenbow, Alabama, where Chastity is. We're writing a story. To me, that seems easier than you coming up with the music, the rhythm, the pitch, or whatever. I don't understand. Maybe it's just my mind because I'm not a musical guy. I mean, I love music. I just can't figure it out. How the hell do you come up with a new rhythm sound where it doesn't sound like every other damn song? How does that even happen? That you get like hammered and all of a sudden it just happens? Explain it to me, Joel.
No, it actually, getting hammered doesn't help much of anything, unfortunately. But I I don't know. Again, I think it's different for each person. For me, I pick up a guitar and I start swinging my fingers in a certain way and start playing a riff in a certain way, or start with a chord that is moving me, and I just go naturally in the timing that I'm playing to what that next chord should be. And if I don't find it immediately, I search for it until I find it, until I find where I want to go with it. And I guess generally I probably do write music first, so that's an element of, I guess, a different perspective than what you're saying. So I think part of it is just being a musician and playing a lot and understanding, sitting down at piano is such a healthy thing for people too, because it you have to have good rhythm and good melody, and you have to also have control over your dexterity in both hands and all your fingers. So and your feet. So, yeah, I don't know if that answers the question correctly.
It doesn't answer my question at all, Joel, but that's fine. Your mind is so different than mine, and I love it. I want to just crawl in there and hibernate and just nuzzle in and see what the hell's happening in there. Like, so if you picked up that guitar right now, okay,
Yeah.
could you pick it up right now and say, okay, let's make a song about, her name is Chastity in Greenbow, Alabama.
Oh God, no. No, I mean, I just don't look at music like that, honestly. Like, I'm more likely to pick it up and play. you know, something that just anything. And, you know, it could be done. I mean, we could write a song about chastity, no problem. But I don't look at music like that. It kind of works best when it works off of some sort of inspiration where you're like, okay, this is feeling good to me. I'm going to follow this. I mean, essentially that's what it is following your instincts.
I love that. But okay, speaking of instincts, let's go back to 22 years old. Okay, we're at UCLA, we're having a good time. Did you tell mom, dad, aunt, uncle, hey, so I'm gonna go work kind of in the music industry. Peace out. And did they say, what the hell are you talking about?
Not really. I had started playing in bands late in high school. I had started, you know, learning songs and started showing up at friends' parties and getting up and playing guitar. And it was like, okay, I like this. I really want to do this. And then once we started at UCLA, I really started getting into it.
Mm-hmm.
One of those things. I think everybody around me, my parents, you know, of course, like bought me my first guitar, and I'm thankful that they were encouraging of it. And they were like, sure, yeah, you seem to do well at this. It started with picking up an acoustic I found in the attic at our house that someone had left there, previous owners or something had left, started playing it. And it just worked. So I think my parents were fairly encouraging, and my family has always been supportive in that way. So I started taking an internship program while I was at UCLA, so I could start working within music industry realm to just figure it out and see if I liked it and see what it was and stuff like that. So I did all these little steps before I took the big steps. So I don't think it was a big surprise, but I had started interning while I was at UCLA for Epic Records and Sony
Mm-hmm.
Music and their
I remember
proposal
that.
and learning that stuff. And so I just kind of went for it. And then that turned into jobs. I got a job with Neil Young after that as an intern for his little label Vapor Records, which at the time, as a 21-year-old kid or whatever, maybe 22 at that time, like I was in awe. Like that was my dream job, even as an intern. You know, I think
Mm-hmm.
I very little. I made minimum wage. Probably, I think they did pay me little, but I made like minimum wage to work there basically, and I was in heaven because I was doing that. And my parents and stuff were all super supportive of that. And at the same time, I kept playing, so my mind was still, my eye was still on playing the whole time. Like I knew that that's what I felt most comfortable in doing and what I wanted to do. So I definitely aimed for that.
One of the things that I always talk about, you heard me say it on the show, is I always say, focus up. You were a tech setup guy, and okay, you're going out before the band. You're that guy that's do tuning the thing, doing the drums, doing the piano, whatever. How do you stay focused on doing that night in and night out? Where okay, Johnny's coming out and he's going to start laying down this amazing bass riff. If you screwed it up, your ass is on the line. How do you stay focused after doing it countless times?
No, it's way worse when it's the lead singer and his guitar doesn't work or something like that in front of, you know, 4,000 people or something like that. And that's happened to me. It's tough, and focus is the key. I focus day in and day out. And when I'm on the road, for your viewers, I basically work as a guitar tech for two major international touring artists. I'm out with them pretty consistently, and what I do for them is I set the table. And what I need to do every day is, and my goal as much as possible, because it's on different stages and different scenarios all the time, but my main goal is the same. It's to focus, and I set the table for them. I set the table the same every day, and I go through routines that, as a creative person, drive me insane. Like there's Groundhog's Day elements to it that are very difficult. But I've learned that once I make a mistake, I don't make that mistake again. Or at least I do everything I can every day to not make that mistake again. So if I forget something during a show, I forget to put a harmonica out for the guitar player, I try to make sure that I don't forget that again. And does it happen from time to time? Sure. There's little things that happen, but I have details that, you know, mainly is making sure that everybody's rig's working properly and up and running and ready to go. And I go through a mental checklist daily. That's how I do it. And it takes focus, or else I wouldn't keep my job. I've worked with both the artists I've worked with for, I think, 5 and 8 years. And the reason why I'm still working with them is because my consistency, I hope, is I try to remain consistent and improve. That's my That's my method.
I love that.
Let me tell you about method, Rubio.
Yeah. Da-da-da.
That's so yeah, and it's so far it's kept me working, and it's so I've been doing that work aspect of it, and it's kept me very busy on the work side of things when the playing aspect isn't there for me.
Okay. So now I'm watching this and I'm thinking to myself, all
And
right,
I expect you from the intro when you said Everlast. The band was Everest.
Everest. That's my fault. That's on me. Actually, I'm going to blame Chastity on that one for not catching that. Okay. That's on me. I actually did know that because I think I follow him on Instagram as well.
I know you know
Let's
that.
go. Let's go to, um, I'm watching this. I want to start recording now with technology, and you've got microphones and laptops and all this crap. You own a studio. What is the benefit of someone coming to your studio and recording? I want you to sell me on your studio as opposed to me being a dork with a laptop and a mic.
Oh man, you just said it all right there. That's what we're up against. Well, it's just a different experience. It's an experience I'm in love with, and I'm still in love with it when I get to go there and record. There's nothing like going into a studio, being surrounded by a bunch of inspiring instruments and technology, or just the rooms themselves, or the vibe, or just being able to make whatever noise you want to make when you want to make it, and having that control over your music, being able to to do something on a level that I still feel like you can surpass what can be done in a bedroom. Are great records being done in bedrooms? Like every day, incredible hits are being made in bedrooms, and just beautiful music is being made, and I'm into it. But people travel to our studio to come for the experience, and I get that. I'm lucky that when I get off tour I get to kind of steal away and get a couple days in there myself so I can do some recording. But it's one of those things where it's a special experience. It's something that is dying in a lot of ways, or is
Mhm.
changing. So if you want to experience it the way that people did back in days of yore, which we have the ability to take it way back, uh, as far as using analog techniques and compressors and limiters and microphones from the 40s and 50s, and we've got a lot of equipment that it's a special experience. It's different than what it was. And now you see studios like ours in movies or in commercials or whatever, and it's almost like a meme of like what a studio is, because they're going away. So I'm glad we're coming up on 20 years, and
Wow.
we're still making music. And yeah, I'm super proud of having the studio. And I think that we've built a community there of people who know and love it, and I'm really thankful for them. We have a lot of return customers because they realize that they can do what I do, is go and post up there and spend some time like honing their craft and getting what they want and need out of some of like the coolest equipment you could use. It's just so fun to get in deep with that stuff. So
I feel like I'd be a great studio guy because I'd want to like talk to people. I feel like you and we could vibe together. You're out in LA, I think, right? So I feel like I could get out there, maybe do a couple promos for the Rubio Method or Decades of the Rundown with Rubio, and it'd be great. Because I just saw Bohemian Rhapsody for the 19th time, and I feel like I would be studio guy. Like I would be in there and have maybe a cocktail in my hand.
yes, you got to come see it next time you're in town.
Is it in LA?
Yeah, it's in Van Nuys.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right by where the 405 and the 101 meet, just north of Westwood.
Okay, I got you. I got some things around there. That's fine. I can make that happen if I've got in a couple hours free. Joel, I wanted the last question I have. I know I'm going overtime, Chastity. Don't yell at me, but I'm too enthralled with Joel's music mind. It's blowing me away here. Tell me about dreams. Tell me about following your dreams.
Well, I think dreams are a tricky thing, because dreams are what pull you forward and what give you hope to try what you want to do. Um,
Mm.
and, I dreamed big right off the bat. I was like, I want to be in a band. I want to sign to Warner Brothers. I want to sign to Neil Young's record label. I want to go on tour opening for Neil. I want to play Madison Square Garden 3 times. I mean, I didn't literally say that, but I ended up doing that. And I
Wow.
play on Letterman. And I don't think if I didn't put it out there to myself and the people around me, when that third Everest record came out, I was like, we got to do Letterman. Like, we got to push for Letterman this time. We've done pretty much every late night show. And I feel like if you don't push for those things, they don't happen. So yeah, I mean, if you can't dream it being possible, then it's not going to happen. So I think if you can dream of something being possible, then you've got a chance of it actually becoming real, which has happened for me multiple times. The downside of that is you can't live and bank on it delivering in the way that you expected. And so I think you have to kind of yield expectation and not think that you are owed or deserve anything. Everest did incredible. We're all still close. And I love that band. It's part of my soul. But we did all these amazing things, but we didn't blow up financially like we thought we would. And eventually we've kind of focused on other things for a time. And I'm in a way, I've learned from that, and I'm okay with that. So did I live out a bunch of my dreams? For sure. Am I a memory millionaire? Undoubtedly. I've traveled all of it. But is there still room for more? Yeah, I'm still hungry too. So yeah, I haven't given up on dreaming either.
Memory millionaire. Did you come up with that, Joel?
I did not. No, I have heard that said before, but
because that's pretty damn crafty. I may steal that, just claim it as my own.
You can, absolutely.
Joel, where could people find out more about you, Everest, and just your studio, things like that?
The studio is located almost everything on socials. It's at New Monkey Studio. So it's Elliott Smith was the previous owner of the studio. If you're familiar, he was an artist that I was a big fan of. And so we're trying to carry on his legacy. So he called it the New Monkey on his back. So it's at New Monkey Studio. I am at Mind the Well. I'm not super active on socials. That's MINETHEWELL. But if you want to hit me up, say hi. If people say hello to me, I will follow you back and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Everest is Everest Band, but is not actually active right now. So, but maybe again. So you never know.
Joel, I really appreciate your time. I know you're super busy. I'm giving you a virtual hug with my big paws right now.
Oh man, I love to get big hugs. Someday soon, let's do it in person for sure.
Absolutely, my man. Thanks for coming out, man. We're going to come back with the bottom line, our final segment on episode 45. Peace out to Joel Graves. Her name is Chastity. I'm out.
This is NGBN TV, a network for men and home to top experts, speakers, authors, and more. Streaming TV for men, created by men.
But why?
Why are we a network that inspires,
educates, entertains, celebrates, and supports
men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, simply to save men's lives?
There is an epidemic in our community,
and it's taking men from us.
I'm talking about mental health and suicide.
But we have an answer, and it's streaming, live shows, sports, concerts, and more.
In a real way for men to lock shields.
We can't wait to launch this TV network for you and with you.
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 Join our movement at ngbn.tv, coming January 2024.
Focus up. I'm talking to you, fake turkey lovers. Thanksgiving's coming up and everyone's going to just woo. They love turkey. No, you don't. You really don't. Here's my proof. I say it all the time on the show. If you did love turkey, you'd order it at restaurants all the time. You'd never do. So therefore, you know that turkey's trash and Thanksgiving is one of the worst holidays. That's just my opinion. Welcome back to episode 45 of the Rubio Method. Remember, if you have any questions, you can email rubio@therubiomethod.com. Thanks for following and subscribing and liking and sharing on ngbn.tv, therubiomethod.com, Apple, YouTube, Spotify Video, Google, and Amazon. Let's go to the bottom line. The bottom line is the segment of the show where it's just basically all the stuff that you should have learned without even realizing you learned it. Here we go. Number one, if you're going through a battle, then you are a warrior. This is just like the minute what Monaghan was talking about. He's saying, yes, cancer survivors, people going through cancer, they're a warrior. No doubt about that. But if you're going through mental health struggles, you're a warrior as well. So you got to stick your chest out, put your shield up, and yes, you are a warrior. Mark yourself as one and get through it. Number 2, do what you enjoy doing it, and it won't feel like work at all. This is one of those things that we talked about with Joel, where he's out there, he's touring, he's going all over the place, but it doesn't seem like work for him at all. It's also like the rundown with Rubio. To me, I enjoy doing those. So they take a little bit of time, but it doesn't bother me because I enjoy doing it. And last but not least, if you don't limit your dreams, you will keep doors open for many incredible things to happen and continue to happen. Joel had a great segment where I came up with the phrase, what was it? A memory millionaire. Remember, I said that myself. I coined that term. I invented it, if you will. He's a memory millionaire where he's had these big dreams. He doesn't just rely on them, though. He's got to put some work ethic, what do they say, elbow grease, things like that. But he has these dreams. He's followed his dreams, and the dreams have come true. Many of them have not, but he's pushing and pushing and pushing. All right, Chastity, that's going to wrap up episode 45 of the Rubio Method. I want everyone to have a great day out there. Spread the word. Chastity, I'm out.
NGBN TV, a network for men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, coming January 2024.